Welcome to the Indie Film Hustle Podcast, episode 109. If you hear a voice within you that says, you cannot paint, then by all means paint, and that voice will be silenced. Vincent van Gogh.
Broadcasting from the back alley in Hollywood, it's the Indie Film Hustle Podcast, where we show you how to survive and thrive as an indie filmmaker in the jungles of the film biz. And here's your host, Alex Ferrari.
Welcome, my Indie Film Hustlers, to another episode of the Indie Film Hustle Podcast. I am your humble host, Alex Ferrari. Now, today's show is sponsored by VideoBlocks. Now, VideoBlocks is a subscription-based stock media company that gives you unlimited access to premium stock footage everyone could afford. If you're looking for like extra exterior shots or things that you might want to incorporate into any of your projects, whether that be a narrative, documentary, music videos, commercials, these guys got you covered. They've got unlimited daily downloads from a library of over 115,000 HD video clips, as well as a huge selection of After Effects templates for like opening credits, motion graphics, titles, company logos, as well as motion backgrounds as well. It's pretty amazing. And on average, subscribers pay less than $1 per download in a course of a year. And the content does not get stale. They're constantly adding new content to the library every month. So it keeps it very, very fresh, and you always have something new to look forward to. And everything you download is 100% royalty free. Even if your subscription is canceled, you have unrestricted usage rights for anything you want to do, including personal projects and commercial projects, and you keep whatever you download and maintain the usage rights forever. Now, VideoBlocks is offering The Tribe a yearly subscription for $99. That's $50 off the usual price tag, just for you guys, just for The Tribe. That's less than $10 a month. So to get this deal, just head over to videoblocks.com/hustle. That's videoblocks, VIDEO blocks.com/hustle for this exclusive offer. Don't forget to head over to filmfestivaltips.com to download my free guide, and I'll show you how I was able to get into over 600 international film festivals for either cheap or free. So I have some updates for you guys. The trailer for This Is Meg has been downloaded now about 25,000 times, which is insane. And I'm so grateful for everybody who shared. It was the most shared thing I think I've ever posted on Indie Film Hustle, on all our Facebook and Twitter and all the other social media platforms. So thank you so much for spreading the word, and continue to please spread the word about This Is Meg. I want to create so much attention to it that it cannot be denied by the industry, and hopefully get seen by more and more people, and we can get as much exposure for the film as possible. So thank you again so much, and there's more stuff coming on This Is Meg in the weeks and months to come. As soon as we know something about a festival, we will let you know. Probably we will know in sometime in December or January what's going on with our first round of film festival submissions, and we will see what happens. And I will report back to all of you guys. So again, thank you so much for making the launch of the trailer for This Is Meg so amazing. And if anybody out there still wants to donate to This Is Meg, just head over to thisismeg.com. I've actually created a donate button because I've been getting emails from people who still want to donate, even though our crowdfunding campaign is over. And we would love anything you guys can donate would be great, because we're still spending money on festivals. We're still spending money on other things to get things ready for festivals and so on. So whatever you can do to help, that'd be freaking awesome. So just head over to thisismeg.com. And we had an amazing fundraising night last week. Our comedy special with Carlo, Sean, Lana, and Jilly, and Joe, all actors in the movie This Is Meg, who came out and donated their time and put on a hell of a show over at the Heist House. And we raised a good amount of money to help us out with our expenses on This Is Meg. So thank you guys all so much for helping us out with that as well. Now, I have a little bit of exciting news. I have updated quietly, but I've updated, not so quietly because I'm telling you now, I've added 7 full online courses to the Indie Film Syndicate. That's right, 7. And I've been busy, so I've had I've added a ton of content to Indie Film Syndicate this month, and I wanted to kind of give you guys an update on what I've added, and I'm really, really excited about it. First thing I've added is the Snapchat Mastery class, Intro to Snapchat Marketing and how you can use Snapchat to help market and build your brand. Also, we've added LinkedIn Hacks, how to create an awesome profile. If you're a filmmaker, you definitely have to create a professional profile. If you have a company, you have to create a company profile, and then you can use LinkedIn, the power of LinkedIn, to help market and sell your movie or brand. Another one we added was Facebook Ads Mastery. Market your film and brand like a pro, which is, if you guys are not familiar with Facebook ads, it is the most accurate and powerful ad delivery service, I think, online. It literally, Facebook has so much information on us that they can literally pinpoint exactly what kind of person, what geographic, how much money they make, what they're interested in, everything to the T. And this course shows you how to do that. So if you have a trailer, if you've got a website, if you've got a fan page, all that kind of stuff that you want to get out there and promote it, this course will help you. Another course we added was Pinterest Hacks, marketing and selling your film on Pinterest. Pinterest is an extremely powerful social media platform and definitely can be used. I use it all the time, and I generate a decent amount of traffic from it for Indie Film Hustle. So if you know what you're doing with Pinterest, very, very powerful, great little course. Another one that I've been asked for a lot, Instagram Mastery, the beginner's guide to marketing on Instagram. This course will take you through the entire gambit on what to do with Instagram and how to market it, how to market with it, how to use it. And I'm going to be adding some new stuff in regards to Insta ads, which are the ads for Instagram, in the coming weeks as well. Another course we've added, YouTube Ad Mastery, which shows you how to use YouTube ads to help sell and promote your stuff. And I got to tell you guys, YouTube advertising is probably the quietest, most underused advertising out there. It's extremely cheap. And just so you guys know, if you use YouTube ads, basically you put, those little, when you go to YouTube, you see those videos that pop up right before, where they're also very targeted to specific people, niches, and likes. But the thing is that if you don't go past 30 seconds, so in other words, if somebody watches your 30 or 28 seconds of your commercial or video, it's free. You don't pay for it. It's amazing. So, and if someone skips the first 5 seconds, you don't pay for it. You only pay for anything past 30 seconds. So you can get a tremendous amount of exposure for your property, for your film, yourself, your channel, your company. Super, super powerful. This course shows you all the ins and outs on how to do it. And finally, Facebook Hacks, mastering the marketing and branding on Facebook. So this shows you the ins and outs, the beginning to the end, from how to open up a Facebook page all the way out to how to market it and how to push it out there. And it is really, really cool, powerful course. All of these are included in your Indie Film Syndicate membership. Now, we've got I think counting close to 300 video lessons in the syndicate and growing. Next month, I have a ton of other courses that I'm going to be creating and adding to the syndicate. I've also added a couple lessons to the Indie Film Masterclass, Indie Filmmaking Masterclass, which is my journey with This Is Meg. So I added some new stuff in regards to how I created the website, what I used to create the website, and then my marketing strategies behind the website. If you guys have not checked out the website yet, head over to thisismeg.com, where you can see the trailer and you can see how we designed the entire site, what we did. And in that lesson, I go into all the strategies of why I did what I did and how I did it. So if you guys want a 25% off your first month coupon, head over to indiefilmhustle.com/25 off, the number 25 and off, and that'll give you 25% off your first month's membership fees. And then, of course, you'll also get access to our ever-growing Facebook group, which is fairly active, and we're helping each other out a lot as well on that. So you'll get access to our private Facebook group. But man, guys, I mean, this is an immense amount of information that we've added to the syndicate, and we're going to be adding a ton more stuff as well coming up in the next couple months as well. So definitely check it out, indiefilmhustle.com/25 25 off. And get in, guys. I want you guys in there. I want to talk to you. I want to see you guys. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. And now back to the show. And now back to the show. Now, also, guys, I wanted to throw something out to you guys. If you guys can email me, message me through Facebook, basically through Facebook or through email, I want to take your questions, guys. Or in the group, you can actually ask questions in the Indie Film Hustle group. And if you're in the syndicate, obviously, you can ask for it in that group. But I want you guys to ask questions, and I'm going to do a whole episode where I'm going to just answer your questions. I want to see what you guys are feeling and hurting about and really are curious about, and I'm going to do my best to answer those questions for you. So please head over to, you can email through the website at indiefilmhustle.com. You can go to our Facebook group or our Indie Film Hustle page or the Indie Film Syndicate group, and just message me directly there or post in those groups or pages. And I will get back and I will pick a bunch of questions and answer them for you in a coming episode. So I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say. So get the typing, all right? So I wanted to put together this episode because I think a lot of people still don't get what film distribution is really like and what you really need to know. And there are some basic concepts and things that you need to know if you're going to try to sell your feature film or get your feature film distributed. And this is not all of it, but this is the top 10. And if you have a grasp of these 10 concepts, I think you will be successful. And again, I'm going through all of this now with This Is Meg in the coming months, going to be dealing with distributors. I've already been contacted by a couple of distributors who are interested in This Is Meg, but I'm holding off. And I'm in a great position where I'm not in any hurry. I want to get the best deal, or I want to do it myself, whichever is going to give us the most exposure and where we can make our most of our money back. That would be great. So here are the 10 basic distribution things that you need to know about if you want to get your film distributed. Rule number 1, forget about selling all of your rights to one big monstrous deal. Those don't happen very often, and it is something that you really shouldn't be doing anyway unless you get an insane amount of money up front. In the olden days, or what the press loves to promote, is these amazing, huge deals like Birth of a Nation, $17 million, which they didn't do very well on that return. But, $8 million or $7 million at Sundance or South by or something like that. That's what they like to sell. And that means that they get all the rights for everything with that money. And by the way, whatever upfront money they got on that deal, they'll probably never see another dime ever again. So any money that they made was going to be in that upfront deal. It's a general, and I'm generalizing here, but generally speaking, that's what I've heard, and that's my experience with working with so many films over the years. So try to sell different, split up the rights. You don't have to distribute all your rights. Negotiate those. So if your distributor is strong in DVD and Blu-ray sales, then give them DVD and Blu-ray sales US. Or if they have a strong distribution arm over in Europe or overseas, give them those rights. If you have somebody else that understands television rights, give those rights to them. If you're going to do streaming yourself, keep the streaming rights yourself. Don't give them away, because believe it or not, you can go directly now to a lot of these streaming outlets. And I'm going to have another episode in the coming weeks about how you're able to do that directly without going through an aggregator. But we will get into that a little bit later. But split up your rights. The film that I worked on, Obsoletia, when I had Diane Bell on the show, she had the rights for a movie that won Sundance, 2 awards at Sundance, and she sold the rights, the airplane rights. The rights to play on airplanes, and she made, I think she told us, like $30,000-$40,000 off those rights, purely because it had won Sundance, won a couple of awards at Sundance, and she was super excited. I mean, that's huge, for a small film like that. But she kept those rights, and she got all of that money. So as opposed to splitting it up with a middleman or a distributor, she kept those rights. So split up those rights, piecemeal it, and that's a really important deal. Now, mind you, if someone shows up and gives you $1 million or $2 million drop, and your movie costs less than that, by the way, then take it. That's fine. But it all depends on what your goals are with your movie. But generally speaking, splitting up your rights where it's foreign and domestic, And then beyond just foreign and domestic, within those cable, VOD, streaming, SVOD, which is subscription-based video on demand like Netflix and things like that. All of that stuff, split all those rights up. That's one. Two, the bigger the deal, the less control you have. So the more money you get up front, the less control you're going to get on anything dealing with your movie. So understand that. They'll have control over the artwork, how they cut the trailer, how they distribute it, how they get the word out. If they get the word out, sometimes they'll just throw it on a shelf. There's a million things. So understand, the bigger the deal is, the less control you're going to have over anything dealing with your movie. Now, if they're not giving you a lot of money up front, you should have, or you should demand and negotiate more control over any other aspects of that movie. So if someone shows up with 10 grand and your movie cost 100 grand and they give you 10 grand up front with promising on the back end, you should maintain a good amount of control over what you're trying to do with the movie. But again, it's on a case-by-case basis. Depends on the movie, depends on the distributor. It all very relative, but these are general rules that you have to look into. Number 3, cap your film distribution expenses. So when you sign a deal with a distributor, they are going to throw in, you'll get paid back after our expenses. I'm doing air quotes here, expenses. Now, those expenses can balloon beyond belief. I did a distribution deal with a group of short films of mine called Lipstick and Bullets with this horrendous distributor, which we left after we broke off the deal, me and my aggregator. It was a horrible deal. These guys were just raping my aggregator because he was the one that was paying for it, and it was ridiculous how much they were charging for like a poster design. They were like charging $5 or $6 grand for a poster design, which was absolute BS. And then if you throw in a trailers will run you 30 or 40 grand in the eyes of a distributor, which it really doesn't cost that much, because I'm a trailer editor, I know what it costs. So these are things that will happen. Or if they fly out to Cannes or to a market, they're going to charge you for hotels and travel and all that kind of stuff. As part of their package to go out to Cannes and sell your movie. So these things you have to be careful of because it can balloon really quickly. If you don't cap your expenses, you'll never see a dime. Chances are, and I hate to say this, when working with certain distributors, again, not all distributors, there are some good distributors out there, A24, Gravitas, The Orchard. There's a ton of good, very transparent distributors who really care about the filmmaker. But there are a lot of unscrupulous ones out there who, generally speaking, you'll never see a dime once you sign a deal with them. And I'm going to talk about deals in a second. But cap those expenses. So you go, look, no more than 40 grand, I don't care what happens. No more than 30 grand, I don't care what happens. And whatever that cap is, I guarantee you'll hit that cap. It's not going to be like, oh, we only spent 15 grand. So, no, BS. They're going to charge you the top of the top. So just be careful and cap those distribution expenses. Number 4, beware of the middleman, of aggregators, because these guys are sometimes extremely helpful, like a producer's rep who connects you to certain people, certain distribution deals. That's great. Certain aggregators say that they're going to guarantee you this or guarantee you that. If they're going to guarantee, which will lead into my next rule, but I'll get into that in a second. But they'll say all these kind of things that they guarantee you to get in this and that. Just be careful of these middlemen because some of them are really good, but you've got to be careful of how they structure that deal, how much they're going to take, what percentages they're going to take, and so on. And for whatever you do, whatever kind of distribution you do, if you are going to sign a deal with an aggregator or a middleman, make sure it's non-exclusive. Do not sign an exclusive deal because if you sign an aggregation deal with an aggregator that's going to help you go out and get distribution, you're locked up for 5 years. And then you're basically handcuffing yourself and you can't do anything with the movie that you work so hard to make because you've signed that deal away. So you basically have no rights, no nothing, can't do a damn thing with it for 5 years. So always sign a non-exclusive deal. Like Indie Rights over Linda Nelson over at Indie Rights. She all her deals are non-exclusive. specifically for that matter, for that reason, because they come from a filmmaking background and so on, and they don't want to screw the filmmaker. But that was one of those little dirty secrets of distributors. Like, oh yeah, just sign it's a standard 5-year deal. Done. You're screwed. All right. So sign a non-exclusive deal with any aggregators when you're working with them. The next rule number 5, nothing is guaranteed. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. And now back to the show. I don't care what anyone tells you, nothing is guaranteed. If you hear someone going, oh, we're going to get you into Netflix, or we're going to get you into Amazon, or we're going to get you 200,000 screens or something like that. Now, again, it all depends on who the distributor is. Now, if it's a big, huge, monstrous distributor or a very reputable distributor, if they're saying, hey, I'm going to put you in X amount of theaters, that's possible. But if they say, I can guarantee you that I'll get you into Netflix, I can guarantee you that I'll get you into Hulu, there are no guarantees. There is absolutely no guarantees to that, and you should run away the opposite way. I can guarantee you, 10,000 units sold to Walmart. Not guaranteeable. Not possible. Unless you're working with a huge Warner Brothers, Lionsgate, those kind of size distributors, then maybe they go, look, we're estimating 10,000 units sold because we're Lionsgate, and we're packaging again with 10 other movies that Walmart's going to buy, and because we already have an output deal with them, it's a minimum 10,000 units sold. That maybe would be the case. That makes sense with a distributor of that size and magnitude. But another local small distributor, you got to be very wary when they start making promises. They just go, hey, we'll do our best we can to get you into these things. This is our projections of what we think the movie can make. That's something a little bit more on the up and up. So keep an eye out for that. There are no guarantees in film distribution. Rule number 6, return on investment, or ROI. If you can make a movie for a budget, let's say you make a movie for $25,000 and you sell that movie for $50,000, guess what? You are an extremely successful filmmaker. If you can go again and make another movie for $50,000 and then sell that movie for $100,000, guess what? You are an incredibly successful filmmaker. And if you can make a $100,000 movie and sell it for $250,000, you're a successful filmmaker. These are things that you need to know about when you're dealing with distributors and also dealing with investors. They want to see that you made money, even if it's a small amount of money, that you made money. So whatever you project that you can sell this movie for, keep the budget under it. That's why I'm always amazed at movies that I'm, pitched or have access or asked to do post-production on. I'm like, hey, what was the budget on this? And they're like, oh, it was $5 million. I go, $5 million? You've got no stars in it. How the hell did you get money to make this movie? That movie will never, ever, ever, ever make its money back. It just won't. Even if it wins Sundance, Cannes, and South by Southwest with no names in it, very rarely, I don't remember one movie doing that. That's why I'm saying it so bluntly. But it's almost impossible for that movie to make any of its money back and its investors. Now, again, a lot of times investors will invest in movies purely for a tax write-off, which it is very possible now. If you can find rich people who want to get a tax write-off to help make you a movie, God, man, send me an email and let me know where they are, because I want to know those guys as well. Because the best is an investor who does not care about getting their money back. And I have a friend of mine who just made a movie that had investors that really did not care if they made their money back. It was a passion project. And then it was a write-off after that. So they were like, hey, I just want to make a movie. It kind of keeps me interested and I'll write it off. And that was it. It was a tax write-off for them. And they made it. It was like a $3 million budget with, I think it has 1 or 2 stars in it, but there's no way they'll make $3 million back. Non-festival, non-anything. So it does happen, but you guys have to understand that if you can, it's a business. So you have to create a product at a certain price. If you watch Shark Tank, you'll understand this. What's your margin? So if you make a movie for 10 grand, if you sell it for 20, you've doubled your money. Awesome. If all your money that you've spent to make that movie and market it and get the deliverables and everything else was 10 grand, if you sell it for 20, golden. Keep that in mind moving forward with your movies. Rule number 7, film festivals help. Sometimes. Now, film festivals are an insanely good marketing tool for your movie. They give you an audience, they give you credibility, they give you access to reviews, and all the wonderful things that come along with festivals. And of course, I created the Film Festival Hacks course with Chris Holland over Film Festival Secrets, talking in nauseam about film festivals and how wonderful they are. But they do help, but not all the time. If you have a genre movie, festivals really don't matter. If you have an action movie, festivals really don't matter. No one cares. If you got a drama or an indie or a comedy or like a dramedy, like This Is Meg is, festivals are really important. Those laurels really mean something. And the bigger the festival, the more you can leverage that reputation of that festival. That's why having a laurel, just getting accepted into Sundance is something that you can leverage. Getting into South by, getting into Tribeca or Cannes or Slam Dance or Telluride or any of these top tier festivals, you can leverage their reputation to help sell your movie. So festivals are crucial for certain genres. Again, horror movies, it's nice, not a big deal. And action movies, nice, not a big deal. Dramas, really helpful. If absolutely imperative, actually, unless you've got a big monster star in it, then we're not talking indie film anymore. But even then, if you have a movie which, like Little Miss Sunshine, had a great cast, but it won Sundance, or was sold at Sundance. I don't think it won Sundance, but it did play at Sundance, and that helped get it sold because that leverage of being at Sundance helped that movie get the release it was, and it was an amazing little movie as well. So again, there are always exceptions to every rule that we're talking about here, but we're talking about general rules for 99% of the rest of us. Now, rule number 8 is beware of the 5-year contract. And that's a kind of thing what I already talked about earlier in the episode. But beware of that 5-year contract, because you do not want to lock yourself up in 5 years. And I've seen it with so many filmmakers who like come to me like, yeah, I can't do anything with this movie anymore. I'm like, where is it? I'm like, oh, it's locked up. I can't do anything. And then they're just sitting there waiting. And then during that waiting time, they're not making any other movies. They're not doing anything else because they can't leverage what they've done to show other people, to show that it got released, that it made any money. It's just a complete cluster F, and it really doesn't help anyone. So please stay away from those 5-year contracts unless there's a big, huge payday on the front end. Rule number 9. Rule number 9: don't get caught in post. It is the biggest place where filmmakers fail and films fail is in post-production. They run out of money, they don't know what they're doing in post, and they cannot finish their movie. And if you can't finish your movie, guess what, guys? You ain't going to distribute it. So I know a lot of films that have been picked up for nothing by a distributor because they literally have no more money. The filmmakers have no more money, and they've been sitting on a shelf for, I don't know, probably a year sometimes. And they come in, they're like, okay, great. We'll come in, we'll pay for all the deliverables, and that's it. You're done. You've given your movie away. It's completely gone. You'll never see a dime. The only thing that will be helpful is that you might get a poster and you can tell people that your movie was finished and distributed, but you have failed as a filmmaker because you have not you're not properly set things up for post-production. And I'm not even going to get into your deliverables list because that is something else that filmmakers always forget, especially when it comes into distribution, that they need to have deliverables, the HD cams, the 5.1 mix, poster art, all this kind of stuff, which I'll go over in another episode. Actually, I'm going to do a full episode about what deliverables you need for a distributor, generally speaking. And then another thing that is part of those deliverables is E&O insurance. I'm going to make that rule number 10, E&O insurance. If you don't got it, you ain't going to get a distribution deal. E&O insurance is errors and omissions insurance. Basically, it's malpractice for filmmakers. So in other words, if you're making a movie and you shoot, let's say a guy chokes on Reese's Pieces, and it's a suicide by Reese's Pieces, and he chokes horribly and dies by Reese's Pieces, and Reese's Pieces is everywhere. Well, that kind of puts a negative light on Reese's Pieces. So unless you've got the permission of Reese's Pieces, if that movie gets released and you don't have E&O insurance, the distributor will be sued, and Reese's Pieces will take them to the bank because they have all the rights to, because they did not get permission to get or to use Reese's Pieces in the movie. So you have to have E&O insurance for those specific reasons. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. And now back to the show. And now back to the show. Let's say you're in the back, you're shooting a street scene. Someone walks in the background. They look into the camera, and you don't get a release for that person. If that person's sitting in the movie theater one day and sees themselves, hey, that's me. I didn't give them permission for that. Lawsuit. That's how it works, guys. So you need to have E&O insurance. Now, E&O insurance can range anywhere from $2,500 all the way to $6,000, but it's something that you need to think about prior to releasing your movie. A lot of times a distributor will pick up that cost, but you will pay for it out of whatever your upfront fee is or any monies that you're going to come back out of. So you've got to make sure that's taken care of when you're going to do a distribution deal. So rule number 10, E&O insurance. And lastly, network like hell. This is a bonus rule. Network like crazy. It's a really small business, guys. And the more I am in this business, the more I realize how small it is. I meet somebody or I'll have someone on the show and I'll start talking to them and they're like, oh, you know that person? Oh, you know that person? It is an insanely small business. As big as it is, the film industry is very, very small, and you really got to network as much as humanly possible because you never know who you're going to meet. And that's why social media is so powerful. And you just have to network, man. Network as much as you can. When you're at a film festival, be connecting with people, I know it sounds cliche, but get coffee with these people, get lunches, and so on. You never know. You just want to network with these people because you never know down the line where you can help them or they can help you. And that's the key too. It's not a one-way street. It's not what they can do for you. You always have to lead with what you can do for them. So it is very, very important to always keep that in mind. What can I do for you? How can I help you make your movie or connect you to somebody that I might know or so on and so forth? So always lead with what can I do for you in this relationship to start building that relationship with that person and network with those people. So guys, those are the 10 rules plus a bonus rule for film distribution and understanding the basics of film distribution. If you can at least grasp what I just said in these last 10 rules, you'll be much better off when you do a distribution deal for your movie. It's a jungle out there, guys. It's really rough. You really have to educate yourself as much as humanly possible. That's why I created the Indie Film Syndicate. That's why I do this podcast. That's why I created Indie Film Hustle. I want to educate filmmakers from all walks of life with as much information as I can to help them survive and thrive in the film business. So if you want to check out the show notes for this episode, head over to indiefilmhustle.com/109. And again, if you guys are interested in taking advantage of that 25% off, which by the way is limited time only. It's only going to be around for this week. Head over to indiefilmhustle.com/25 off, the number 25 and the word off, and check out all the new courses we've been adding to the Indie Film Syndicate. And this show is also sponsored by freefilmbook.com. That's freefilmbook.com. And go over there to download your free filmmaking audiobook from Audible. And guys, if you can, please, please, please leave me a good review on iTunes. Head over to filmmakingpodcast.com and leave me a great review, an honest review, but hopefully a great review, because it really helps us out with the rankings on iTunes. And again, I want to get this podcast out to as many people as humanly possible. So guys, thanks again for making this podcast so popular and making Indie Film Hustle grow as fast as it has. And I've got a lot of stuff lined up over the next few months, and definitely a big 2017, man. It's going to be a really big year and hopefully a very positive year for everybody in the tribe. So again, thank you so much, guys, for all your support. I love you guys. You're the best. Anyway, guys, keep that hustle going. Keep that dream alive, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to the Indie Film Hustle podcast at indiefilmhustle.com. That's INDIEFILMHUSTLE.com.